Every year we start seeds indoors in preparation for our growing season. And this year we're trying something totally different, but kind of the same. Instead of starting all of our seeds in standard pots like these, we're gonna be moving to soil blocks. Oh, we gotta put the little pins in. Right now we're just making blocks. See, look. We gotta put the little nubbins. We have no holes, but look, that held together well, okay? It's a completely new system for us, but after doing a bunch of research online and just with the sheer amount of seeds we're gonna have to start for the 2025 growing season, I think this is the right route for us to move forward on. So in this video, I'm gonna go over kind of what soil blocks are, if you're unfamiliar, why we're making the switch, and what we hope to gain from it over the long term. And of course, we're gonna keep you updated throughout the entire process. For the micros, that insert, this insert is just to make the little round hole, for the seed. If you've never heard of soil blocks, here's kind of the basis of the idea. Instead of using pots like these, like those, maybe even ones like this, you use something called a soil blocker. And the idea behind it is to hold and create compact blocks of soil that hold themselves together naturally. Each block acts as its own mini container for seedlings, but without the waste or root issues that can come with using plastic trays or plastic pots. The first reason, no more transplant shock. When you plant in plastic pots like these, so just your standard plastic pot, roots will eventually hit that plastic edge. And when they do so, they're gonna start circling round and around, leading to a plant that is root bound. That root bound plant can really slow down and stagnate once it's transplanted into the garden. Now I wanna be careful with this cube because I hopefully have a germinated pepper in here that's just waiting to poke out. But the idea with a soil block like this is once roots hit the edge of the soil block, they're naturally gonna get pruned by the air and they're gonna stop growing there. Eventually the goal is that that root system will go back inward and start developing out more lateral roots, leading to a nice dense root ball that can then be transplanted. That dense fibrous root ball that we're hoping to develop in a soil block like this leads to better water absorption and better nutrient absorption. So hopefully once we take the soil block and transplant it into the garden, that'll just lead to a healthier, stronger plant right off the get-go. Okay, we're out in the shed now for reason number 2, and that is less plastic waste. Don't mind the mess, we only have one storage shed for everything that we moved over. But as you can see, we have a ton of plastic pots, plastic trays, plastic everything that we have accumulated over the years. That bin is also full down there. Although I can't say we have a ton of waste when it comes to plastic because we generally keep and store and reuse everything from year to year, they do eventually crack, they break, and they wind up going in the garbage. Now, when we move to soil blocks, or with the move to soil blocks, it's nothing but soil, water, and seeds. My light went out on me. That's better. No plastic disposable, nothing to worry about, and that should make for a far simpler process as we move forward, especially with the sheer amount of seeds that we need to start. Reason number 3 we're switching to soil blocks is space and water efficiency. We have a ton of seeds to start this year to fill that garden that we created, and I'm hoping all of the seeds we need to start indoors will fit on this metal racking system you see behind. Now, one of the benefits to soil blocks is they can sit right next to each other tight inside one of those trays. This means that we can fit far more soil blocks or far more seedlings in each tray than if we were using our standard 3 or 4 inch pots. Soil blocks are also known to have a much better moisture retention than standard pots. When they're tightly packed together, they are able to retain a lot more moisture as a whole than each individual seedling planted in its own space or own container. Not only does this mean they don't dry out as quickly, it also means we don't have to water as often. This is going to save us time and lead to healthier seedlings. We all want stronger and healthier plants, and that's what we're hoping to achieve with soil blocks. These peppers are already starting to come out after about, I think it's 6, maybe 7 days ago that we seeded them. Because their roots should get naturally pruned once they hit the edge of the soil block, we should wind up with a healthier plant overall. Admittedly, we've had a lot of success with growing in your standard pot like these in the past, and they've transplanted well into the garden, and we've never really had issues. We've always had really healthy plants. However, that was at a much smaller scale. And as we did a lot of research and we read about a lot of gardeners who are growing at a much bigger scale, and even a bigger scale than we're starting to grow at now, they have all said that they have had much better starts and much healthier transplants and plants that grow a lot quicker and a lot healthier when they switched over to soil blocks. So although we have very little experience, actually we have no experience in it, this is going to be our first growing season using these, I'm really excited to see how it all works out, and I'll be sure to keep you updated throughout the entire process. The final reason we're switching over is for easier and faster transplanting. We have a lot of plants to get out in the garden this year, and if you've ever struggled like we have in the past with getting plants out of pots like these, or out of 18 or 36 or 72 well trays, you know how much of a pain it is to be able to poke your finger through the bottom, not try and disturb the root ball, not break the root ball in a bunch of different pieces, and get it into the garden in one piece. Ideally this year, all we'll have to do is pick up a soil block, plop it into the garden, and move on to the next transplant. It should go, I say should because we don't know yet, quite a bit smoother than using our old method of trays and potted plants like we have in the past. Of course, this is our first year using soil blocks, so we're excited to see how they actually perform for us. We'll be documenting the entire seed starting process from germination to transplanting and sharing what works and what doesn't. If you want to see how this experiment plays out, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our updates. If you've worked with soil blocks in the past, I'd love to hear your experience down in the comments. Maybe you've got an awesome recipe that you've used. I think we're using something Elliott's or Elliott Cole's or something Elliott's recipe for this. I will put that recipe down in the description below. It formed a really nice block. I was really happy with our first kind of crack at putting this all together. But I'd love to hear your experience. What worked for you, what didn't, let me know down below. Thanks a ton for joining me again here at First Crack Farm. Thanks a ton for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.